one of the most polluted and densely populated countries, where crime is rampant and poverty is everywhere. Is there even anything good about India? It's a little harsh to say all these downsides to India. Many think of India and say it's a third world country, but let this video prove you wrong. People might say that you can see poverty everywhere in India, but did you know that the country has created the second highest number of CEOs after the United States? That's right. Just take a look at some of the biggest companies today and you'll find Indians leading them. Some of the most well-known figures are Satya Nadella from Microsoft, Sundar Pichai from Alphabet, formerly Google, and Shantanu Narayen from Adobe. Aside from the tech industry, you can also see Indian CEOs in banking and finance, consulting, medicine, fashion and apparel, logistics, or retail. Indian women are also getting into the game, such as Indra Nooyi at PepsiCo and Sonia Syngal at Gap. So what makes Indians more suitable to be CEOs? First, it's their brutal and competitive education system. There are also more Indian students being sent to the West to study compared to other countries. Indians are also no strangers to hard work, thrift, and industry thanks to their struggle. They're also very determined to move up the social ladder to avoid experiencing hardships, not to mention their familiarity with using English as their second language. All these factors made Indians the perfect candidate to run a Fortune 500 company. Here's another fact about India that will shock you. The country has 169 billionaires, making it the third highest in the world. The top two are the USA and China. This is impressive because it's more than most developed countries such as Germany, Italy, Canada, the UK, France, Switzerland, and Japan. Most of these billionaires live in India and Mumbai, with Mukesh Ambani being the richest. About 59% of these billionaires are self-made, which is lower than the global average of 70%. But this is still an improvement from several decades ago, when only 33% of billionaires in India were self-made while 67% gained their wealth from inheritance. It shows that the country is giving a fairer platform to people who didn't come from privilege to go up the social ladder. Speaking of billionaires, no one can skip the fact that Mukesh Ambani, who is India's richest person, has the tallest single-family residential building in the world called Antilia. The price of Ambani's house is second only to Buckingham Palace, and it's worth over $2.2 billion. The jaw-dropping creation has 27 stories, 3 helipads, a 168-car garage, a ballroom, 9 elevators, a 50-seat theater, terrace gardens, 3 swimming pools, a spa, a health center, a temple, and a snow room that gives you actual snowflakes from the walls. To keep things running, the Ambani family has recruited 600 staff members to help maintain the mansion. Amazingly, the Antilia was designed to survive an 8.0 earthquake on the Richter scale. Do you think the UK has beautiful historic universities? Well, more than 500 years before Oxford was founded, India already had Nalanda University with over 9 million books and 10,000 students from across Eastern and Central Asia attending. The university was founded in 427 AD, and it's considered as the world's first university. At Nalanda, these students learn medicine, logic, mathematics, and their most popular discipline, the Buddhist principle. Even the Dalai Lama was quoted saying, "The source of all the knowledge we have has come from Nalanda." Some of its most lingering legacies are mathematics and astronomy. The father of Indian mathematics, Aryabhata, attended the university around the 6th century AD, and he was the first to assign 0 as a digit. The institution didn't just spread its influence through ways of learning, but also with its design that has open courtyards enclosed by prayer halls and lecture rooms. Just like any modern-day university, it was a shame that the university was destroyed in 1190 by a troop of invaders led by Turco-Afghan military forces who wanted to eradicate the Buddhist center of knowledge. After the desecration, It remained virtually deserted until it was rediscovered by a Scottish surveyor in 1812. Nalanda University is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site that still serves as an important place of pilgrimage and reflection for Buddhists all over the world. You might think people in India are unhealthy, but it turns out that the country has the highest number of vegetarian people in the world, with over 24% of the population foregoing meat consumption. This is mostly due to their cultural beliefs such as Hindus, Jains, and Buddhists. All these religions teach non-violence against all living things, including animals. Being vegetarians often means living healthier, as fruits and vegetables are important to maintain good health. It's also a good way to combat climate change because raising livestock uses a lot of fresh water and creates greenhouse gases. Unfortunately, this is not a popular way to live yet. According to Statista, only 14% of the world's population abstain from eating meat. Hopefully, India can be an example to other countries, and meat eating can be seen as a luxury instead of a daily habit. Another reason why most Indians are vegetarians? Because they consider cows as sacred. This is due to the belief of the most dominant religion in India, Hinduism. The Animal Welfare Board even wanted to rebrand Valentine's Day as Cow Hug Day. This is why McDonald's in India only sells chicken and vegetables in their restaurants. Their menu is 50% vegetarian, and they don't even have the Big Mac. Instead, Indian McDonald's has a Maharaja Mac made out of chicken patties. But this also has its downsides. There are over 5 million cows in India, and they're now taking over the roads and destroying crops in mere hours. Farmers all over India have created fences and trenches to protect their land. Crops and plants aren't the only thing these cows destroy. It was estimated that cows caused 900 human deaths between 2018 and 2022. Most of these cows are male ones because female cows are still useful for their milk and calves. To counteract this issue, the government has launched plenty of initiatives, including manipulation using sexed semen and cow shelters or sanctuaries. If you think the Statue of Liberty is amazing, then you should see India's Statue of Unity that's twice its size. Finished in 2018, it's the tallest statue in the world, standing at 597 feet or 182 meters tall. It's a homage to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, known as the Iron Man of India, who merged over 560 states into the Union of India. The 182-meter height symbolizes the total Democratic Assembly constituencies in the state of Gujarat. It took India 3.5 years, 300 engineers, 3,400 workers, 70,000 tons of cement, 25,000 tons of steel, and 12,000 bronze panels to complete the statue. The statue weighs 1,700 tons and is worth over $400 million. This statue also has a museum with photographs, documents, and a research center dedicated to the life of Sardar Patel. One thing that the Statue of Liberty and the Statue of Unity have in common? In 100 years, the statue will turn green from its original bronze color due to the natural aging process of its material. It seems that amazing architectural construction is India's strength. Still in the topic of engineering, it's also home to the world's tallest railway bridge, the Chenab Bridge. The bridge is 29 meters or 95 feet taller than the Eiffel Tower, sitting at 395 meters or 1,180 feet above the Chenab River that connects India's Jammu and Kashmir regions. It took the country 10 years to finish making the bridge, and it will be open by the end of 2023 or early 2024. It was said that the bridge was meant to boost Kashmir's connectivity with the rest of India. This means the region's industrial and agricultural sectors will be able to flourish and continue no matter the weather. Previously, the only land route that connected Kashmir was the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway, which closes during winter. Let's hope the gravity-defying bridge will be able to improve the living standards of the people on both ends. If you think that India has a lot of crimes, you might have never heard of Shani Singapore before. It's one of the safest cities in India that's famous for not having any doors or locks on any of their houses. Despite not having any locks, the village remains thief-free. It's so safe that even their nationalized UCO bank branch doesn't have locks either. One of the reasons for this is that locals believe that thieves can't steal. After all, the village is protected by Lord Shani, the Hindu god associated with the planet Saturn. Anyone who dares to steal will be punished with misfortunes. According to the legend, 300 years ago, after rain and flooding, a rock washed up on the shores of the Panasnala River. The locals then touched the boulder with a stick and blood started to flow from it. Shani appeared in the village's head dream and ordered the slab to be kept in the village so he could reside there. He also had one condition: the rock must not be sheltered, and he needed to be able to oversee the entire village without hindrance to protect the village. Some skeptics have said that the low crime rate might be due to the village's remote location instead of divine intervention. Whatever the reason is, some villagers have started to challenge the custom. Plenty of younger people have asked the local government to install doors and locks. Hopefully, the tradition can continue to signify the village as one of the safest locations in the world. India is filled with bustling cities and overcrowded streets. But did you know it has northern Sentinel Island, which is one of the last untouched places on Earth? The small island is not on many shipping routes and is surrounded by lots of shallow reefs with no natural harbors. It's hard to reach the island, and if you do, you'll be greeted with hostile defense from the Sentinelese. Based on data from anthropologists, there are currently around 80 to 150 Sentinelese that lived on the island and can't or won't communicate with the outside world. They're so disconnected from the outside world that no one understands their language. Although there were plenty of attempts to congregate by anthropologists and military forces, it seems that the feeling was not reciprocated by the Sentinelese. Some of these attempts have been ignored, but most of them ended in violence. One of the most recent cases is of an American tourist, John Allen Chow, a missionary who wanted to convert the isolated tribe to Christianity. He was attacked and died after 3 attempts to approach the locals in November 2018, and his remains were said to be buried on the island by the Sentinelese. The Indian government called off the search after several weeks to avoid a dangerous situation for both search personnel and the Sentinelese people. If you still consider India a backward country, you should know that it was the first country to issue postage stamps from the post office in the Sindh province in 1854. Aside from that, India also has the largest postal network in the world with over 155,618 post offices and 566,000 employees scattered across the country. The postal service in India is an important aspect that assists the country in engaging in communication and driving socio-economic development. Over 150 years later, it still provides help to India. During the pandemic, the Postal Service stepped in to deliver life-saving medicine when the country implemented a nationwide lockdown. The country also boasts as the home of the highest post office located in Hukum at 15,500 feet above sea level. Another interesting location is the world's only floating post office at Kashmir's Dal Lake. Established in 1953, the post office is a modest 2-room boathouse that serves the community living by the lake. India is such a vast country that one of its religious gatherings, Kumbh Mela, is visible from space. The Hindu festival is a religious celebration that rotates between 4 pilgrimage sites on 4 sacred rivers: Haridwar on the Ganges River, Ujjain on the Shipra, Nashik on the Godavari, Prayag at the confluence of Ganges, Jamuna, and Sarasvati. Because one day of the divine equals 12 years for humans, the festival is held every 12 years. One particular site that attracts millions of pilgrims is the Kumbh Mela at Prayag. In 2019, the number reached as high as 200 million people. The rituals of Kumbh Mela include dipping inside the holy waters of the rivers. The waters are deemed divine and can purify the sins of the people and their ancestors. During their bath, the pilgrims often chant hymns and pray. Unfortunately, cleansing their souls also means polluting the river. As people dip inside the waters, they increase the numbers of organic pollution in the water. The rivers were also deemed unfit for drinking and bathing. That's why the government has taken up various measures to treat the rivers recently. They started to treat the sewage and wastewater at treatment plants, using bioremediation and geobags. They also installed over 122,000 temporary toilets during the pilgrimage for people to use. It seems that this 2,000-year-old tradition will stand the test of time. Still need convincing of India's greatness? The country is home to the Amritsar Golden Temple, the world's largest kitchen that serves free meals for hundreds of thousands of people daily. The Golden Temple is one of the most sacred pilgrim spots for Sikhs that's surrounded by other famous temples. The temple has 2 community halls where the meals are served. Regardless of your color, race, religion, and gender, everyone is welcome here. You'll be served a vegetarian meal of lentils on a plate and a roti. On a normal day, around 50,000 to 60,000 people eat at the Golden Temple. But during religious holidays, the number could go up to 100,000. To fulfill this demand, the kitchen has 450 staff members and hundreds of volunteers that help them daily. The volunteers also help wash 300,000 plates, spoons, and bowls after the meals are finished. It is said that the budget could go up into hundreds of millions yearly, and donations from around the world are needed to keep the kitchen afloat. Nevertheless, it speaks volumes to know that Indians have somewhere to go whenever they're hungry and down on their luck. Some people think that all India ever invented was yoga, and they would be wrong. The country has contributed plenty of inventions that people still use today. One of the most interesting inventions is plastic surgery. A 6th century Indian physician named Shushrut wrote the technique for rhinoplasty that depicts the use of forehead skin to form a new nose. Another medical discovery that Shushrut established was cataract surgery. He used a curved needle to loosen the lens and push the cataract into the back of the eye. Indians were also the ones who invented shampoo in 1766 in Bengal. Another invention that you're probably using at the moment is the USB, created by an Indian-American computer architect, Ajay V. Bhatt. But the most impressive invention is the one that started it all, the number 0. We've already mentioned Aryabhata, the inventor of zero who attended Nalanda University. Without zero, there would be no binary system, which means ineffective calculation and no computers. India is not just a country where you'll find overpopulated cities or pollution. It's a place of great minds, knowledge, amazing architectural feats, and useful inventions. It's also where people come to congregate for religious purposes, where charity and giving is common. The country has an inspiring history with an even more impressive future ahead. Hopefully, this video has opened your mind and changed your perspective toward India for the better.